So, most of us have probably heard or used the term lemon as it relates to cars. Usually and traditionally, I believe it was used more with new cars or newer cars that turned out to be bad, but a lot of us use it to refer to used cars as well. I actually remember the first time I heard the word lemon used in the context for a bad automobile was when I was a young kid. I found some Dennis the Menace anthology book where it had a lot of reprints of the comic strips, and there was a strip where Dennis is out with his dad. They're next to a car and the other guy, and it shows Dennis saying something and his dad looking embarrassed. And Dennis says, "Hey, Dad, I thought you were going to sell this guy a lemon. Where is it?" His dad was for sure embarrassed, I imagine. Anyway, a lot of us who've owned a used car or two have a car we look back on and say, never should have bought that, you know. So how do you know you made a bad buy that you bought a lemon? Well, there's no scientific explanation for this as far as I know, but usually you won't know it till after you actually buy the car. Then you'll discover it has a lot of problems you weren't aware of. So in my opinion, based on my experience, the best way to tell you bought a lemon is, well, I don't know if best way is any good way to explain this, but usually when you buy a car that turns out to be a lemon, it will show you the signs very early. And you may not realize that those were the signs until after you've held on to it for a while and put a lot more money and effort into it, trying to make that car into the car you want it to be, but the car it's never really going to be. However, when I look back on the 3 cars I've owned that were all arguably bad buys, they all showed signs very early on, and that sign comes in the form of an unexpected and or undisclosed problem that you were not aware of the car had. And let me give you a personal example of this. One of the worst cars I ever bought was a 1979 Bronco in the early 2000s. I put some gas in the car after buying it because it was low on fuel. I get the vehicle home, I find it has a gas leak in the fuel tank. The old fuel tank had gotten rusted out in spots and was leaking fuel after you filled it up to a certain level. And apparently that was why the seller had been keeping it low on fuel. So, get the car home, I find out it needs a new gas tank, and that was just the beginning. It later developed wheel bearing issues. It also needed a new water pump, needed several other things before I finally got rid of it. And it turned out to be what I consider one of my worst car purchases. So I find that usually when you buy a lemon, it's going to be something like that. It'll have an unexpected, undisclosed problem that will show itself early, and that will be the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. And eventually you'll be putting a lot of money into that car trying to fix it up. Now, I've bought a few used cars in the past that had some minor issues that were disclosed to me, or I knew about them before I bought the car and was able to prepare for them or get them fixed. And those cars turned out to be decent cars over the long haul. For example, the 70s Impala that I had in high school, I took it to a mechanic and he noticed the gasket around the transmission pan needed to be redone. Got it redone. Didn't have any other issues with that part of the car. Also, when I bought my 1993 Camaro that I owned years ago, I was told and I knew that the tire tread wasn't the greatest in that. Should probably plan for new tires. Bought new tires about a month or two later, still enjoyed the car for many, many years. So I think when you're buying a lemon, though, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be something where maybe there was a minor issue, you got it fixed, and the car was okay. Or maybe the car was, problem-free for quite some time before it started having problems. That's not really a lemon. A lemon is usually going to be a car you buy, and from the beginning, you're going to get zapped with one thing after another. Obviously, with any used car purchase, there's an element of risk, but yeah, all of us who've owned a used car too have had some cars that were great and some that were lemons. But unfortunately, it'll probably show you a sign pretty quickly that you bought a lemon. You just may not really know that's what it was until after you've owned it for a while. We can hope that one unexpected repair is just that, one unexpected repair, and then you get a lot of good use of the car afterwards. But unfortunately, though, many times it is not. That's my perspective on it. Thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe.